May God's peace, mercy and blessings be upon you. New video and a new story. But before starting, don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. So let's begin. The story of the haunted doll. The events of this story revolve around a little girl called Samar. Samar is a little girl who is only 6 years old. One day, the little girl Samar's family decided to move from their house to another house, much larger, and with a garden. When Samar saw the house for the first time, she was very happy with it. The house, it has a garden, so Samar will be able to play in the garden, as she wants without her mother worrying about her. While the family was inspecting the house and preparing it, Samar was walking around in the garden. Samar saw something that looked like it was buried in the garden. Samar approached this thing and noticed that it was a doll, but it was large a little. With great difficulty, Samar was able to take out his doll and took it to her mother to show it. The doll was covered in dirt, so Samar asked her mother to clean the doll. The mother agreed, and the mother actually removed the dirt from the doll and cleaned it to the point that it looked like a new doll. Samar was very happy with this. The doll especially, since Samar has no siblings, and therefore this doll was her sister. When sleeping, the doll slept next to Samar, and even when Samar went out to the garden, she would take the doll with her. The situation remained as it was until something suspicious had happened. One day, the mother said to her daughter Samar, "What do you think, my daughter, if I buy a new doll so that your doll looks old?" Samar did not agree with what her mother said and strongly refused to give up this doll. While the mother was sleeping, she saw a terrifying nightmare, which was that her daughter Samar's doll was being held by her, a knife, and headed towards her, trying to kill her. The mother woke up from her sleep and was terrified, but she discovered that everything she was just a nightmare. These nightmares were repeated so often that the mother felt that this doll was not normal and that the one who had buried it in the garden of the house had buried it for a reason. The mother decided not to tell Samar's father and just watching her. One night, Samar woke up from her sleep and went to the kitchen to drink a glass of water. Samar came out of the kitchen and saw a strange thing. Her doll was on the floor in front of the kitchen. Samar was sure that she had left the doll in her room and had not brought it with her. Samar took the doll and returned to continue her sleep, and convinced, she told herself that she might have brought it with her without realizing it. As Samar felt a strong desire to sleep, the next morning Samar told her mother everything that had happened to her. Here's Samar's mother felt that there was something really suspicious going on around this doll. The mother decided to get rid of it quickly. The mother went to her daughter Samar's room and took the doll with the intention of getting rid of it. But when the mother tried to leave the room, she was surprised by Samar standing in front of the door of the room and saying, "Leave my doll, mother, because my doll will not leave this room." The mother was amazed at the way her daughter spoke to her, but she tried to push the doll away from her. The daughter immediately jumped to get the doll, and the doll fell to the ground. The daughter attacked her mother with all force and began biting her on the arm until blood flowed. The mother was in great pain and took Samar away from her and quickly left the room. The mother told Samar's father everything that had happened to her. In fact, The father was surprised by the mother's words, but the mother's arm was already seriously injured. The father asked his daughter, Summer, to come. Summer came as soon as Summer saw her mother injured in her arm. She said, What happened to you? Mom, why is your arm so hurt? The mother was amazed at Summer's words and said, Don't you remember anything, Summer? Summer said, No, mother. All day long I was sitting in my room with my dear doll, talking to each other. Here, the father and mother became certain that there was something unnatural about this doll and it must be disposed of. The father decided to wait until his daughter Summer went to sleep and then sneak into her room, take the doll and throw it somewhere far from the house. After midnight, the father tried to enter his daughter's room, but Summer was hugging the doll with full force. Then the father decided to wait until the morning. This morning, next the father and mother went to Summer's room and did not find Summer and the doll either. They searched everywhere and did not find her, but they did find something that froze the blood in their veins. The father found a phrase written in blood on the wall that said, You will never see your daughter again. And to this day no, there is no trace of the little girl Summer. Don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. And put your opinions in the comments and like the video. The events of this story revolve around a girl called Mayhe. Mayhe used to live in a simple village, but in order to complete her university studies, Mayhe moved the capital Seoul years ago. One day, while Mayhe was sitting in her room studying, she felt as if someone was there. What was near her? This thing was so close that Mayhe could feel its breath, as if it was breathing on her face. Mayhe began to calm herself down and say, This must be the effect of lack of sleep, as I have not slept well for a few days. Mayhe's feeling increased, and she became certain that there was an entity, a stranger, is in the same room with her. Mayhe started screaming and quickly headed out of her room. Mayhe stood in front of her room door, very frightened. Mayhe thought back to an earlier time, precisely at the time when a series of strange events began to haunt her. About a month ago, Mayhe was riding one of the buses that was involved in an accident horrific. In fact, everyone on the bus died, and only Mayhe survived. Mayhe remembered the details of the painful accident in which large numbers of people died, and how she miraculously survived as the bus collided that day with a grain transport truck, which led to the bus overturning more than once. At first, Mayhe thought that she was very lucky because she was able to survive such an accident, but the poor girl did not know that what happened to her was the beginning of the mysterious and terrifying events. Since Mayhe returned home, she began to feel as if there was a mysterious entity or an angry spirit. She came with her from this accident, as if there was a roommate living with Mayhe, and it even got to the point that Mayhe could feel the sound of hot breathing close to her. What made the matter even more terrifying was that Mayhe felt that this entity was going to attack her and try to kill her. Mayhe used to go to university in the morning, and in the evening when she returned, she would find her room as if a tornado had passed through it. May realized that this entity was angry and wanted to her leave her place of residence. May thought about moving from her current residence and looking for another place, but May remembered that housing prices Seoul were very high, and for the place where May lived, its price was cheap, somewhat, as it was close to her place of work and also to the university. So May would not be able to find another place with these features. May remembered that her mother had given her necklace. This necklace is a talisman that protects a person from any danger. May took it out. She said the talisman and hugged her tightly, after which May hung this necklace above her bed. In fact, that spell had a magical effect, as after May hung it and went to sleep, that night passed peacefully and nothing suspicious happened. May then felt very happy and sad. I finally got rid of that angry entity. My mother was right. I had to call her in the morning to thank her for this spell. May slept deeply. For the first time, May woke up to go to university. Before May left the room, she called her mother and thanked her, but her mother did not answer. At that time, May thought that her mother might be busy or she might still be asleep. May left her residence and headed to the university. All that happiness disappeared as soon as May returned from the university. When May returned, she saw that the room she lived in was completely destroyed. This is not what brought terror into May's heart, as the necklace that contained the talisman had appeared. The series continued. Strange and suspicious things happened to the poor girl. May discovered that her computer, which she was sure she had turned off before going out, was working, and that someone had also used it. May went to see the secret of the computer. May sat on the chair and saw written words in front of her. While May was reading the next, she noticed as if a shadow passed behind her. May looked back and was surprised. There was a girl almost the same age as May standing in front of her. The blood froze in May's veins, and she said, "Please leave, this place is mine." He shouted. The entity in May's face screamed. May lost consciousness. May woke up on her bed, and on the ceiling of the room she found a phrase written in blood saying, "If you don't leave today, you will die." May had no other choice but to leave that place and look for another place to live. With it, that angry entity announced its intention quite frankly. Today's stories are over. I hope they terrified you. Don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Subscribe to the channel, like the video and share your opinions in the comments. Peace, mercy and blessings of God.